suffering, meaning that there's some kind of spiritual purpose in our suffering or in our plan. So there's some kind of spiritual purpose to our suffering and our pain. There's a spiritual plan. There's a spiritual purpose to this. So we can rejoice. James, the pastor, the brother of Jesus, James goes on to say, count it all joy when you fall into various trials and what? Tribulations. When you suffer. Like, man, come on, Bible, give me a break. Man, that's not really what I want to hear when I'm in pain. You know, like Julia said, I'd rather insulate myself, wrap me up in a blanket, let me stay over here, pull the covers over my head. I really don't want to face the music right now, or Squishy Cat, you know, bam, bam, bam. I love the illustrations. They make me want to go home and read to my son again tonight. Beautiful illustrations of this idea of insulating, and then this idea of isolating, right? But we're hearing now God say through His Word to us, and the Word is what? The Word is what? Truth, right? And if the Word is truth, then that's a good model for us, because we don't want this model, feel, what? Walk, believe, true. We want this model, truth, believe, what? Walk, feeling. Right? Don't want this model. We want this model. So when somebody's talking to you, you want to listen to them and say, are you telling me the truth? Okay? We are now looking at the truth when it comes to pain. Maybe not your perspective. Maybe not the lens you've ever looked at pain. Maybe you've never kind of even studied this area about suffering. And there's a lot of great literature, biblical literature, spiritual literature about this issue, because people have taken on this subject. And the Bible smacks it right on and says, wait a minute, what was it? Count it all joy, James said. And here it said what? Rejoice.
Boast in our suffering.
Boast, okay, or give glory in your suffering. Okay? So you're going to acknowledge it, right? Because we're not going to suppress it. We're not going to insulate it or isolate from it. We're not going to indiscriminately express it. We're not going to suppress it. We're going to acknowledge it. And he says the way to acknowledge it is to what? Glory or boast or count it all what? Joy. Anybody else? Romans chapter 3? You're reading the translation?
Chapter 3? 5.
Oh, chapter 5, verse 3.
Chapter 5, verse 3.
Anybody else have a different word there?
Glory.
Glory. Okay, glory. Huh? Okay, so then now.
Doesn't make any sense. Because it's
Glory
King
in
James.
Okay,
I got
so
King James.
read it to me. Let's unpack it.
Worketh, I love this. After you talk about the hope and the glory of being with God, right? And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also. Knowing that tribulation.
Okay, so time out. Glory and tribulation.
So it says
Instead of suffering.
Right?
Okay.
There you go, right there.
Knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Patience. Now we're starting to understand, wait a minute, there is a spiritual purpose to our pain, because when we acknowledge this tribulation to God, right, we move from I feel I can't do it, I feel it's overwhelming, I feel it's too much, to, wait, what did it say? It said glory in the tribulation, right? Rejoice in the tribulation. Count it all joy in the tribulation. He's starting to say now when we do that, so when we acknowledge it, what begins to happen? After we acknowledge it, what does it say?
We're worketh patience.
It worketh patience. Now, somebody in the English translation for us, please, because we're not in England, except...
We get calm. We get resolution.
Somebody say it to me in a different translation.
Translation. It's perseverance, and it produces endurance, and she has perseverance. Perseverance.
Just read it to me.
It's not only that,
Hold on just a second.
We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they are good for us. They help us learn to be patient.
Okay, they help us, or so it's all saying the same thing, isn't it? No matter what translation you get into, it's all coming to what? One of the spiritual purposes of pain, if I acknowledge it, God said it's going to produce something in me, and this first thing it's going to produce is what? Patience. Is patience a good thing? You were talking about her daughter. She's talking about delayed gratification. She's talking about, hey, being patient with her. Hey, not running in and fixing it. Because in our good and well-intentioned nature to try to help people, sometimes we go in and try to fix what God is trying to bless them in. We always think we got to take the pain away, don't we? We got to go in and fix it. You know, one of the hardest things for any type of lay ministers and even pastors in many ways. I'm sorry, please, if I look over the glass, please just kind of do this with your glasses. I've worn cheaters for so long, I'm looking over the glass, and they're trying to remind me, my wife, is saying, don't look over the glass, look through the glass. And so I'm trying to catch myself doing that. Boy, am I on a rabbit trail. If we, spiritual purpose, he's saying what? If you acknowledge this pain, right? Don't run from it. Don't insulate from it. Don't isolate out of it. But acknowledge it. It's got a blessing. And the first blessing of the pain is what? Patience. Right? Okay, so then go on. What does it say? And then that patience, if you receive the patience, right? Not if you try, I don't want to be patient. No, I'm not going to do it. And Julie kind of shared about, like, sometimes when we want to do something so bad, we will leave reality. We will create such a distortion in our mind that we will leave reality. And when you leave reality, you are coming to see us. Okay? You are headed to see us. That is not something that you can go, I'm going to sit alone in my house and try to process that reality, like Howard Hughes, in a dark room, naked, right? A billionaire. How does a billionaire end up there? Right? He had a distortion in reality. He wouldn't let people get near him. He was isolated. He was insulated. He had the money to be able to do it. He had the means to be able to pay people to let him isolate and insulate. And he literally left reality. Okay? So it's saying here, if you patiently sit in what? The crucible. What's a crucible?
A refining vessel.
Right, it's a refined. Very good. Golly, you are my star student. It's a refining vessel. No, you all are. I meant you, plural. It's a refining vessel. It's a crucible of pain. You're in, many of you, all of us will be at one point, either coming out, going in, or still in a crucible of pain. Now, in this crucible of pain, he's saying, if you what? Sit patiently, and if you glory in it, I'll produce patience. I'll produce patience. That'll come out of it. What else will come out of it? What's the next verse? Strength of character. And what else? Hope.
I'm going to say that not the one I'm looking at right now. I'm going to say I looked that up. It says something about a godly character or a godly spirit.
Yes.
Well. But
yeah.
Right now that.
No, you have it. It's a great translation when it says that. Okay. So here, let's say, so this is going to produce what? Hope. And it's going to produce, let's say, strength of character. And strength of character is just another way to say what? Godly character. Now look how far we've come. We've come from not just wanting this thing to be gone. Where Jesus in the garden. Dad, please, if you can take it away. Take it away. This cup, it's just too much. I don't want to do